love. Hey, this is your host, Sister Nayyirah. I am here with the Heal on Purpose podcast, produced and owned by the Repair of the Black Family. Guys, brothers and sisters, I am so excited. I'm truly elated because today we are going to bring forth a beautiful young lady that's going to help us to eradicate generational traumas, dramas, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging behavior patterns. She is a good, dear friend of mine. She's a coach. She's a leader. She's an author. She's a mother. She's most important, a wife. She's a wife. Let me say that one more time, because we are repairing the Black family as we talk about this, right? And she's definitely a friend. So I'm going to read her bio, and I just want you to know that if you are watching this podcast today, I'm going to ask that you like it, share it, and then also take notes, okay? Because we are here to engage with you on this Facebook Live and YouTube Live. And for those who's going to come and listen to it on the podcast, make sure you got some hot tea and a pen to take notes. All right, so today I'm going to bring to you Sister Jessica T. Moore, who one of her quotes is, "Give yourself permission to evolve and let go." Okay. Jessica T. Moore is married to her high school classmate, Aaron Moore. Together, they have 3 children and reside in Atlanta, Georgia. She is the host of the Jessica Moore Show, creator of the Own Your Story brand, and the visionary author of Embracing Imperfections. She has shared the stage with multiple times with #1 motivational speaker Les Brown, and recently co-authored a book with him. Jessica is also a training facilitator for New York Times best-selling author Russell Brunson's mentees. She combines her experience as a former actress, international best-selling author, and master-level clinician to fulfill her mission of helping people inspire, impact, and influence through their stories and transform the lives of the people they serve. I am bringing forth to you Jessica T. Moore, who is she's my friend. She is my coach. I'm here because of her. Jessica, where you at, sister? I am here, family, with my friend Jessica T. Moore, but I got to really introduce her properly. She is my coach, okay? You all have seen that. Look, I have a book, Repair the Black Family. Trust and believe it's because of Jessica, okay? I'm now doing a podcast. Trust and believe it is because of Jessica. Jessica, I can't say enough about you. And every time I see you, I just smile because you always have a beautiful smile on your face. Jessica, tell the people who you are and what you do in life.
Well, hello, everyone. So thank you for the amazing introduction. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so proud of you. I just want to say that first and foremost. I'm really just honored to be here right now. And so, yes, like you said, my name is Jessica T. Moore. I am the visionary author of Embracing Imperfections. I am also the owner of Own Your Story Publishing, which is a brand where women come together to break their silence, own their stories, and tell their truths. And I'm also, as you mentioned, a wife. I have 3 amazing children, and I am a social worker. So I recently just graduated, y'all, with my master's in social work. So yes, I got like dual lives right now. Yes, I'm really just excited to be here. And congratulations on everything.
Yes, ma'am. Jessica, one of the things that I love about your brand is Own Your Story, and because of that brand has gotten me to this space and where I'm at. And I'm just trying to see now, I'm not going to put you on Front Street, but I'm going to put you on Front Street. Jessica, how old are you?
I am almost 31.
Almost 31, and not just living in your purpose for self, but I mean, you are literally helping thousands upon thousands of people tell their story, and you're impacting so many people. So what I'm trying to figure out is wife, mother, visionary author, transformational coach, international bestseller, got your master's, and you help people foster care children. How do you do it all, Jessica?
That is a great question. People don't always ask me that question. So that's why I'm saying it's really a great question, because people really don't understand how I juggle everything. So this is how. So Tuesdays and Saturdays, that is my superstar on the internet, trying to make it happen days, right? So I actually schedule out my posts and different things like that. So because I know I'm only available on Tuesday and Saturday. So I schedule everything out, like as far as my emails, working with my authors and different stuff like that. And then I let everything just play itself out. So I usually schedule my life a month at a time. And then on Sundays is my family day. Don't call me. Don't say nothing. Don't buy me. That's my family day. Like I'm not doing nothing on no Sunday. And then Monday, Wednesday, what we got left? Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That is my cutoff for working is 3:00. And then I got my children. So I'm, they at school during the daytime. They come home. That's our time. And then the day I'm like running the back end of our social work agency. So we actually have our other business is called Atlanta Youth Services. So we actually offer services to children and families in the foster care system. I actually do coaching for that. So I don't work directly with the children as much anymore unless I feel like it. But I actually coach agency owners and CEOs and their staff, and I teach them the same thing I'm doing online. Like they got the same issues that we got anywhere else. So I actually help them to build their brands and their businesses and hire staff and everything. So I do all that from home. And then, like I said, my day always ends around 3:00. And then
Wow.
I'm spending time with my family. So everything works out. My biggest thing and my secret to how it works is I stick to my schedule and I say no if it doesn't align. And a lot of people, they're not able to do that. They're like, well, I got this going on or that. It's like, no, if it's not Tuesday, I'm not handling anything online. If it's not Wednesday, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm really strict when it comes to my schedule. So that's how I would say I'm able to balance everything out. And I do want to mention this real quick. So I know you mentioned that I do work with children in foster care. This month, I was awarded a contract to actually work with from the Department of Public Health to now work with children and families with disabilities.
Oh, wow, Jessica.
So I'll be a parent coach
Yes.
for children and families with disabilities, and I'll be a direct Medicaid provider. So I'm actually going through that process this week, getting my Medicaid number and all that good stuff. And I will also be helping children who have disabilities and their families with coaching them on how to embrace their imperfections of children having autism, ADHD, and whatever developmental delay. So I'm like so excited because I never get to talk about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And as I listen to you speak, and I want somebody to write this down, take a mental note or and put it in the chat. A planned life is a prepared life. Right. So the more you plan, the more you are prepared. And when you plan, you don't have to get ready because you stay ready. And that is just amazing, Jessica. And you are truly an inspiration, especially for young women that may feel like, I'm a mother, I gotta work, I gotta do this and I gotta do that.
Mm-hmm.
And here you are, like you call us your star student, but you are a star example on, how to do this. And so I have so much I want to say as it relates to the book and all of these things, but I just want to get this, just have a candid conversation with Jessica. Like, Jessica, you wrote a chapter in my book from victim to virtue. I mean, how did you get to that point? From where were you when you had that mindset of I'm a victim, and now you're standing in this power, this way of life that is truly looked at to be admired. That if I can come from victim to virtue, so can you. Like, tell us about that mindset. How did you? What space were you in with that?
Ooh, that's a good question. You always got some good questions. So I would say when I was going through being in a victim mindset it started when I was a teen. When after my mom passed. Honestly, I didn't know, like, I felt like my life was over. Like when my mom died, it felt like a piece of me was gone. I feel like I died when she died. And so because it was so sudden, it was the most random thing that ever happened. Like I literally went to stay the night with my cousin, and then like my family like pulled up and was like, your mama just like suddenly died. And so going through that situation, and me and my mom were really close, like to the point where like I was a spoiled brat. Like I'm not even gonna lie, like I was a spoiled brat. My mama was like had her fingers wrapped around me. Like I was just so like it was literally at a point where like I'm like I don't want to sleep in my own room, and I'm like 13, and I'm like still sleeping in bed with my mama because I'm like I just want to lay with my mama. So that's the kind of relationship that we had. So to have that happen during Christmas break,
Wow.
yeah, was like it really like took a toll on me. And so from that happening, my grandmother took me in. And when she took me in, she was like, it was a shock to her too. Like, so when she took me in, she was so sick. Like she couldn't handle my mom passing. That was her first daughter. And so she got so sick to the point where she developed cancer. And I ended up having to take care of my grandmother. And in her last days, she ended up passing 2 years later. And then my great grandmother, who helped my mom raise me because my mom was a teen mom, she passed away as well. So I was just in a space where I was upset, like I was angry. I didn't understand, like I was raised in the church, so it was like, how could God put one person through so much? And then I started to look for love in all the wrong places. And then that's how I met who I refer in your book to as him. No other name. It's just him.
Hold on, Jessica. We gonna get there. Wow. Okay, so here it is. A young girl that's in love with her mother, which is very, in the Black community, in our culture, many of us as young girls, we have problems with our mothers, right? But here it is, you as a young girl, you just are endeared to mom. And all of a sudden, your world is crashed because mom is taken away. And not only do you got to deal with your own pain, but how old were you again? You say 13, 14?
I had just turned 13 that month.
Yeah, just turned 13. Now you got to not only deal with your own pain, but you got to experience your grandma pain, right? And then internalize her pain because now she done got sick from her loss, right? And I just want to let the people know why I'm raising these points, because we're healing on purpose. And I don't want us to miss the story or the principles in the story. Okay. And if you're watching, go ahead and share this. So now you're inheriting, you're dealing with your own trauma, but you're inheriting the trauma of your grandmother at 13. You got to process all of this. Okay. And live your life. And so now here we go. You start looking for love in all the wrong places. Who has ever been in that space where we look for love in all the wrong places? Jessica, how did you arrive to him?
So when my grandmother passed, she actually, I thought she was doing better. And my family told me she was doing better. And then next thing you know, I came home from school. My family was gathered once again. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, she's on life support. And so we were going up there to say our goodbyes. And so I'm like, my head is just spinning. Like, I'm back at this, going through this again. And I went up there and I saw my grandma on the life support. And it was just like I just felt like I felt again, like I felt like I was dying again. So I just held her hand. And as I was holding her hand, I said, Grandma, I can't do this. And so she held on to my hand, and I said, I got to let you go. Like, I have to let your hand go. I have to step out. And I said, I will be back. And she started trying to mouth me something. And so she was trying to get me to stay there. And I was like, I have to step out. So I let go of her hand, walked towards the door, and blanked out and fell out on the ground. And next thing I know, like the nurses were all there and they rushed me to emergency. And when I realized what happened, everybody like, do you know where you are? And I'm like, I'm in the hospital. I was like, I got to go back. Like, I have to go back to my grandma. I told her I was coming back. So I'm trying to get back. And they're like, no, you can't. You can't do it. You're not in a position to be able to do it. I'm like, I told her I will be back. And so I kept saying it. I'm crying. I'm like, they wouldn't let me go back. And then she died. And so that ended up happening. And when that happened, I just started, I'm like the anger, you know what I'm saying? Like I just started getting more and more angry and just going through so much. And so then at that point, my family didn't know where to take me because I lived with her. And so after she passed, I was sent to move to Arkansas. And in that process, it was other stuff going on. I ended up getting kicked out of school. I failed the 9th grade. But that story turns out good because I failed the 9th grade and I got double promoted and then graduated on time. So that's that part. But yeah, so I ended up moving to Arkansas. So now I'm in a new environment. I've never left my hometown. And then that's when I found him and I met him. And then like all of a sudden I just felt like he was in the home where his mom and dad were married. I never experienced that. And so it's like the mom and dad are married. He got brothers and sisters. You know, like they had what I felt in my mind was like a perfect little family. And so, and then they accepted me in as a part of their family. And then yeah, and then the fairy tale turned into a nightmare with him. So,
wow. So here you are at that age, you done lost mom, grandma, right? You done failed 9th grade. So all of this is compound trauma. Then you meet this person. And how old are you at that time?
When we met, I was 15.
So you 15 years old, you in what we would consider in this day and time, a low-key serious relationship, right? And you're not in a healed space. So, but you experience, it's in my book, but I just want to make sure the audience know, and family, go ahead and share this. You experienced domestic violence in this at 15 years old. How did you process this? Like, how did you go through that? And tell us about when you got on the other side of it, of all of that.
So, basically, so what happened when we were we were together, and we were together for years. So, it didn't start off in the beginning that way. And one thing that my mom did before she passed is she got me a promise ring. And so she had bought me this promise ring and she told me, you know, like how special I was and waiting for marriage and different stuff like that. So I had this promise ring and I'm thinking about everything my mom said, but then I'm going through this stuff with this guy at the same time. And so, like I said, we got together at 15 and then at 17, he's like, I was finding out like he was cheating on me, you know, and all this stuff. So I'm like, let me just give him the one thing that my mama said was special. And then maybe if I do that, then he won't leave. And so I lost my virginity to him at 17, right before I was about to graduate. And so, and then it got worse. And so from that, the relationship became abusive. And I didn't understand the signs of abuse. So I didn't even know I was in an abusive relationship. It got to a point where when I would try to go out with my friends, he would take my shoes. So he would take my shoes, like, you're not going nowhere. And so shortly afterwards, I ended up pregnant at 18. And so so it was things that I didn't understand. Like I didn't know I was being abused. And then I felt like if I hit back, then I'm not a victim of domestic violence because we fought each other. You know, different little things that I thought.
Wow, hold that, because that's a real point. Okay. So because you thought that you was fighting him back, you're not a victim. Okay, because I'm engaged in this. Wow, that's deep. Okay, good. So family, I hope that this is serving us and we can really take life lessons for this. So Jessica, I'm going to ask you this question. Can you speak to that 15-year-old girl that may be out there that's wondering, she don't have the type of family that she desire to have? She's lost a loved one, right? She's maybe going from house to house. She has to rediscover herself, right? Maybe she's going in a relationship and she's giving up that promise, you know, and she had to talk to that 15-year-old girl that may be in a 45-year-old woman.
Wow, that part at the end, because when you said talk to the 15-year-old girl, I thought about all my children that I work with in foster care.
Right. So talk to the 15-year-old girl that resides. The 15-year-old girl is out there, But
Yeah.
I want you to really talk to the 15-year-old girl that is living in a 45-year-old woman. Because we got to embrace our imperfections. Just we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
Yes.
Just roll with me.
I would definitely say you have to face what you've been through. Like, you have to face it. If you don't, you'll always be stuck right where you were left off. Like, in that situation, when I went through everything I went through in that relationship, I didn't face it. Like, and it started to trickle into other areas of my life, like my marriage. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I had to, that's what I would say, is you really like have to face what you've been through. You have to sit down. That's where own your story comes from. You got to say, like, you know what? I'm owning every piece of this story. Also, just being able to not speak about this person in a negative way. Like, I don't have nothing negative or positive to say about him, but I'm not gonna get on here bashing him like he was dragging me across this and that. Like, I didn't do stuff too. Right. So it took two. So taking personal responsibility for what happened and how I got in that situation. It's a quote. I don't know if it's Les Brown or somebody else, but they say, like, wherever you find yourself at some point, you set an appointment to be there.
Wait, stop right there. Hold it. Hold that point. So listen, y'all, write this in. One, you got to face it. And that's my language, Jessica, confront. Face it, be willing to experience. Two, take responsibility, because at some point, say the quote again.
What did I just say? Look, I had people ask me to repeat stuff. I said, wherever you find yourself, at some point, you made an appointment to be there.
I need somebody to write that down. Wherever you find yourself, at some point in your mind, in your spirit, in your emotions, even in your physical beingness, you made the appointment to be there. It was destined. Okay. And I truly believe that whatever we go through, we learn from, if you are willing to learn. So I'm going to add to what you're saying. We got to be willing. We got to be willing to learn. That 15-year-old girl got to be willing to go through and bring herself out of that. So thank you, Jessica. That's powerful. And so as we are moving along, so Jessica, you go through this, you arrive. How did you get out of the relationship? And then where you are now in this beautiful, happy, just ideal scene marriage where your husband works with you. And then we're going to get into embracing imperfection. I guess, you know what, before we go there, how do we embrace our imperfections? I guess you kind of gave it, but let's talk about that.
So what, you want me to answer that one first, or how I got out of it?
No, let's go to how you got out of it, girl, because I got so much to say to you. Go ahead. How did you get out of it?
So it's funny that you asked how I got out of this situation. So I got out of this situation, I think I was about 20 years old, and he left me.
What?
Yeah, so I was gonna ride it out no matter how many women was calling my phone, all the pictures that I saw and everything else, and I never left. Like, I'm one of them people that I just try to stay loyal to you to the very end, no matter what happened, and that's my toxic trait. And so, yeah, so he ended up, one day he walked out and he left. I left. So I left and I got my own place. So I was like, I'm 19 years old at this time with a baby. And I'm like, it's no way I can do this on my own. But look, I even thought about this stuff. So my daddy came and picked me up and said, you got to go. So that's the first thing that happened. So first thing that happened is my daddy picked me up. He said, if you don't leave this situation, I'm going to make you leave it. So he picked me up. He took me back to his house with my baby, and I had to stay with him. And I'm like, I'm not staying with my daddy. So I went and I found myself a place to stay. And, I'm in my mind, I'm like, I can't do this on my own. And so about 3 months later, I got me an apartment, right? And so then when I got the apartment, I'm like, hey,
Yeah, I got my own place, boo.
Yeah, let's try it again. And so, so he was coming over there. And then about 3 months later was when it was just like, it was like, this was toxic. Like, I lost my first job because he went in my car. He would like go in my car and like turn the lights on so the battery could die in the car. Like, just crazy stuff. And I'm still like sticking through this. And so I ended up at one point, like even going to jail. Like I was on probation for a year. And we had a no contact order against both of us. He was on probation. Like it was toxic. Like when I say this,
God had to intervene.
yeah, it
God
was
had to
crazy.
intervene.
Everybody intervened. My daddy, law enforcement, his family, my family. You know what I'm saying? And it was just like I just could not let this man go because I'm like, I gotta marry him. I lost my virginity to him. I had a baby by him. We gotta stay together for the rest of our life. That's how the story's supposed to end, right?
Right.
And then one day he just walked off. And then after that, it was just kind of we just started to, like slowly just separate, like
Wow.
and then after that in that process I went through a process on my own where I healed myself. Like nobody, I don't want to talk to no man. Let me do me. And then that's when I graduated from college. When I was able to sit down, I went to counseling. I got in a community of women and I started to find out who I am outside of this relationship.
That's key, right? So one, loyalty. You had loyalty in that toxic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And a lot of us don't understand when we are residing in something that's toxic. So we really have to know, who we are and what does toxicity look like for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So toxic relationships, good. And so I'm gonna come back to the other question of how you got to your husband, but let's talk about healing yourself, right? Because we're talking about healing on purpose and getting in a community of women supporting women to help you in this journey. What was that experience like?
So when my great grandmother passed away, that's when I reached my breaking point. So I'm going through all this with him, and then at the same time, my great grandmother passes away. And so when she passed away, I was on the way to, my dad was taking me and my daughter to her funeral, and a snowstorm hit. And when the snowstorm hit, it stopped us from being able to make it. We had to pull over. And I was not able to make it to see her before she passed. And by the time I made it, she was already gone. And so I never got closure. I didn't get to actually see her. And then my breaking point hit where I don't want to trigger nobody, but like trigger warning, when they told me, like, I was like literally calling, like, I need to see her. Like calling the funeral home, like, y'all need to let me see her. And they was like, you want to see her? She'll be laying here, whatever. That's what they said. I ain't gonna go too deep into that. But that, like, when they said that to me, like describing what I would see if I saw her, it just like broke me to a point where it was like, you know what? I have to finally face all the things that I've been dealing with. Like, and so I ended up going to counseling. And at that point, I felt like I had been living like 40 years. I had been through so much. Like, and I was 20. And so I went and I had isolated myself, and my counselor just started to talk to me and say, like, who are you? Like, who are you? And so I was like, I didn't know who I was. And so that was just a question that I had to keep asking, like, who am I? What do I want out of life? Is this what I want? What did your mama want for you? Like different things like that. And when I was able to really process that, I had to be intentional about surrounding myself with the people that fit my future.
Wait, hold that part. Hold that. And I want everybody that's listening, take a mental note and put it in my chat. You had to surround yourself around people that fit your future, which means this says this to me, Jessica. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm around people that serves how I see myself being. So you have to fit in my future. So I'm gonna tell everybody right now, you got to get yourself around some people that fit your future. If you are around the same people doing the same thing and it's not conducive to your future, then really you're stagnant and you're wasting time, right? So that's the power of community, Jessica. Thank you for saying that, because I see that as a critical point in healing on purpose. get around people that fit your future.
Mm-hmm.
Good God Almighty. See, I see how you got to embracing imperfections. Okay, so now you're a part of this community of people that fit your future, which means to me they a little bit, they're higher than where you are, which gives you somebody or something to strive for.
Yeah.
Take us on this journey. How did you get to become a visionary author for yourself? Mm-hmm. And then now, boom, you got thousands of women that you are impacting to write or embrace their imperfection. Let's talk about that journey.
Yeah, so when I was looking back at the things that I had went through, like failing the 9th grade and then being double promoted to the 12th grade, like I skipped 11th grade. And so when I'm looking at that, it's like it's evident that I'm trying to fit two different narratives. Like, are you a failure or do you pass with flying colors and get, so I was struggling in those aspects. Like, who am I in this? Like, even when I'm going through an abusive relationship, but yet I'm still accomplishing a lot. Like, and so it was like I was living two different type of lifestyles. Like, I'm headed in two different directions. And so when I went, I ended up being a part of a community called the Circle of Trust. And if you know, I got the Circle of Impact. It came from the Circle of Trust. And so this is like where it was older seniors mentoring like the freshmen and the sophomores in my college. And so I became a part of Circle of Trust. I made my first vision board, and I was able to, that was the first time I was like, I don't have to worry about like, am I experiencing more trauma? Like, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, where are we going instead of where have I been? And so,
wait, Jessica, where are we going? Somebody need to hear that. Where are you going? Not where you been, not what you done been through, but where you going. Continue, Jessica.
Yeah, and so I had my daughter with me. They embraced my daughter like she was their own. Like, cause I was feeling like I'm in college. I'm living on college campus with my baby, and I felt different. And so like, and I just went and I was able to meet so many women who started to like pour into me. And so from there, these were traditional students, and I was a non-traditional student. So I was like, man, why don't they have somebody for the non-traditional students, like, the way they support the traditional students? And so that's when I realized that person was going to be me. And so I was able to go to professors and talk to people about starting my own community of moms who had children who were trying to finish school. And so, because I wanted my community to look like me. And so that's what I was able to do. And I met so many amazing women. I was keeping all the kids in my house. I'm like, y'all stay at my house this day, over here this day. And we were able to that's how we were able to get through school. Like, we had the kids. My house used to be a madhouse. Like, I got pictures from back in the day. But I was able to take what I learned from the Circle of Trust and then create my own version of that for moms with children. And then, like, we had a couple moms who worked overnight, so we kept the babies at night. I worked during the day. I went to school during the day, got help with that, and then we all graduated.
That's beautiful. So here we go, family. You got to be a change maker. You got to be a part of the solution and knowing that something can be done about it. And don't wait for somebody to do something for you and what you can do for yourself. You just got to see what's needed, what's wanted, and then stand in your power and do it. So, Jessica, you've been, embracing imperfections, right? Starting in college and helping other women to embrace it and then come out on the other side successful. So now you are a visionary author. You are a mentor. You are a coach, right? With your double masters, your masters, and all of the things that you do. Tell us, how did you get to embracing imperfection as a visionary author? And why is that so important to you?
Yeah, so pretty much after I graduated, I ended up graduating, I moved to Georgia. Well, I got married. So I graduated, I got married, I had a couple more kids, moved to Georgia. And then the pandemic hit. So before I was actually doing this, I used to have a t-shirt business. And so when the pandemic hit, I was, wasn't selling any more shirts, and I had just had a baby. And so in that process, I ended up finding an online community. And I was like, oh, this can be cool, and stuff. And then she talked about how she was actually doing a compilation book. And I had never heard of a compilation book before. And so she was like, got this program for X amount of money. And if you want to sign up, we're going to build our brands together and be this community. So I'm like, okay, cool. And so I signed up to be a part of the program. And when I got in, it was like the worst experience I ever had. Like online, I would say online. So it was just a horrible experience. Like she didn't care nothing about our stories. It was no guidance. It was just like everything was all over the place. She was pretty much, I would describe her as like an opportunist, just being honest, because it was like she saw that compilation books was a good way to make money. Then she saw courses was a good way to make money. Then she saw this. So she doing all these other things while we're sitting here with these stories. And the book went from a 12-week program. It took her over a year and a half to launch the book. And so I'm sitting here.
Not in your program.
Yeah. Oh, we in
don't
and
do
out.
that. But anyway, we'll get there.
Yeah. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, my story is important. I'm excited. I'm ready to tell it. And the women were just like, the energy was off. Like it was not a good experience. And so I kept waiting and I'm like, I'm not really getting feedback on my story. It was just like a lot. And it was more so the focus was like, how can y'all grow my brand? Like it was a brand development, but it was really just for her brand. Like I didn't receive it, so it was just a lot of that going on. And so after a year, I just called my bank, like, look, y'all gotta give me my money back because I'm done with this whole thing. The woman then deleted all the stuff and it was just a lot going on. But I took that experience and created my own, because now I'm sitting here like I got my story to tell. Like I ain't never been an author and I didn't stay here ready to tell my story, didn't come out with the book. So now what am I gonna do? And so that's when I was like, you know what? Once again, I'm going to just be my own rescue. And I'm going to start my own stuff based on what I had learned in 2020 from the other woman, and then just wing it and do it myself. And so that's how Embracing Imperfections came about.
Beautiful. Yeah, so that's amazing. So Jessica, you have Embracing Imperfection as a visionary author. You are on volume 3. Right? Volume 3. And you're not just an author, but you're an international best-selling author. What would you say to those and you're helping others? Like how many women have you actually helped tell their story?
Published 142. Unpublished almost there, over 200.
Okay, wow. So Jessica, why is it so important to write a book or in a compilation book? Because that's what you specialize in. Like, tell us what you specialize in as far as helping us tell our stories, in particular in the way of a compilation book.
Yeah, so the main thing I would say, like, I've always had an idea of wanting to write a book. I did not know like where to start, what to do, and how to see it through. So when I decided to go ahead and do my own compilation book, it wasn't like I sat down and planned it out. Like I'm like more of a person, I wake up and be like, oh, that's a good idea, let's go for it. So I wanted to be like, I sat down like I'm gonna do this and that. Like I had the experience from being in that, little thing that didn't work. But other than that, I just got up like, you know what, let's just do this. And so the biggest thing that I would say is like it's a lot that goes into being an author. I'm sure you know.
Oh yeah, I know. You remember me.
Yeah.
I was crying. Tell everybody how I was crying. You had to hold my hand, but anyway, continue.
You did amazing. You did amazing. So yeah, so a lot of times when we think about our story, we think about, like just writing it and putting it in a book. And then it's like we get disappointed. And this is what before I had the book program, I had another coaching program, and something I would always tell them is like, you're coming out with these products, these services in this book, and then you go harass your family and friends to go purchase it. It's your moral obligation to go out and find the people that you were called to serve. And your family and friends don't owe you anything because you might change your mind.
Right. Hold that point. It's your moral obligation. Yes. To go out and find the people that you were called to serve. See, that right there is a whole word. Because, we get stuck on comfortability of the people we know, the people we trust. Yes, they are somewhat in the picture, but they're not the bigger picture, because all of us are being called to be servant leaders, especially during this time. Wow. So, okay, good. So now you journey, you get the people to help a book. Why a compilation book, Jessica?
I would say a compilation book because it gives you that exposure. It gives you credibility. I call it the ABCs. You will get authority, you will get brand awareness or exposure, and you will get the credibility you need. So like yes, we are super amazing and dope on our own, but when we come together as a community, we can do so much more faster. And so the main thing is like, my goal is I don't want to just sit down like, oh, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna write a whole book, and then I got to do all this stuff on my own. Why would you have to do it on your own? And it's thousands and billions of people. Why not just come together? So a compilation book teaches you that collaboration, and it gives you a starting place. A lot of the authors that come through my program, they never finished anything they started. Like, so this is the first time that they was able to start something and see it through and then watch it prosper. So like, that's why I would say a collaboration book, because we need community. We need to borrow each other's audience and different stuff like that. Then once you're already on the coffee table of people all over the world, come back and be like, okay, now I have this. But now you have an audience that you were called to serve, and it's not just your family or just your friends. It's actual people who want what you have. So now you have the momentum to move forward with launching your coaching program or your products, your services, and everything else, because you have an audience. So that's the purpose in doing a collaboration book. And I get so many people that's like, I don't want to do nothing with nobody else. I'm gonna do it by myself. And that's a lack mentality. Because no matter, even if you do a compilation book or not, it's not gonna make a difference. You can still do everything else you want to do. It's not gonna do anything but add more value to your life. So that's how the way you show up with that and that kind of thinking is gonna keep people where they stuck at. Because you gotta add value to other people and then let people add value to you. That's the only way we're
And
gonna
that's
do it.
and that's powerful. You know, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that our unity is more stronger than a hydrogen or atomic bomb.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I see in that, the power of coming together in unity, especially
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to women, because, you know, we have been really denatured, devalued, and really destroyed when it comes to collective consciousness and doing things together. You know, I could do a whole historical thing on that, especially when it comes to Willie Lynch. You know, so doing these collaboration books is a part of our healing process, and
Mm-hmm.
learning how to share space with women, learning how to get along with other women, and being vulnerable, right? So
Mm-hmm.
to embrace your imperfection, you got to be willing to be vulnerable, you got to be willing to be transparent. And that's what I got from you helping me to write my book. What would you say, because I know you have your third book coming, and you definitely need some more authors in that book, right? But
Oh
what would you
no, we 4. We actually working on 4 now.
Oh, you're working on four.
Yeah,
Okay,
4
well,
start in 2 weeks. So
okay, four star. See, she's a serial entrepreneur when it comes to writing books. I just did my first one. But so what would you say, Jessica, in the just the power of vulnerability and transparency as it relates to coming into a program like this? Maybe not doing, you know, because we've been separated, right? The truth is we have a separate mentality on certain things because this world produces competition. You got to compete and compare, right?
mm-hmm.
But on a project like this, in a process like this, you got to be willing to be vulnerable. You got to be willing to be transparent. You got to be willing to share ideas and to be able to connect and celebrate other women as well. What would you say as it relates to that, Jessica?
So I would definitely, I think the biggest thing is understanding like competition is a myth. Like it's no such thing as competition. And that's just what I personally believe. Because at the end of the day, like nobody can be me like me. Nobody can be you like you. And even with embracing imperfections, like embracing perfections to me means break your silence, tell your story, and heal your heart, right? But then for you, you have heal on purpose. And so that's like it complements one another. Like you got to embrace your perfection. You got to heal on purpose. You know, so it's like just getting out of that mindset of I don't want to share that because I don't want them to steal this or whatever the case is. Like nobody can be you like you. No matter how many people, it have been people that came that stole my stuff and tried to do it and they can't do it like I do it. So you can keep on trying. So like that's the main thing is like nobody when you become a part of a compilation, you realize your magic, like how much what you do matters and what you bring to the table. Because even when people tell the same stories, they may have been through domestic violence, they may have been through abuse or neglect or bad relationships. No story is ever the same. Like, none of our fingerprints are the same. And so that's the biggest thing, is coming together, like, and add value to other people. Like, when we go out and we say, I was talking to one of my authors from volume 1 when we were going through coaching sessions with volume 1. And one thing she was saying, she was like, she's trying to get her idea off the ground. And that's what this does too. It helps you to get your ideas. Like, a lot of people that come to my program, they're just getting started. So it kind of gives them that push. And so she was saying that she wanted to get her idea off the ground. And so I asked her, like, well, what was it? And so she told me, and she was like, people not donating. Like, people didn't support what I'm doing. So I said, well, how many people have you supported? Oh.
Okay.
None.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, it makes sense. And so, like, the thing is, when you, like, what's that called? The law of reciprocation? Like,
law of reciprocity.
Yeah, there you go. Look, I said reciprocation.
Yes.
Reciprocity. And so the thing is, like, when whatever you put out, that's what you're going to get back. So you can't keep coming in. You feel like because you started this, or you want to, you know, say, I'm doing this, so y'all come support me. That don't make no sense. But when you come and you be a part of a community, the ones who come in to the program and they add value and they stand out and they help, that's the ones that end up successful. You can already tell, like, going through the process, who gonna come out on the other side successful, because they give and give and give. And it's like, even what you said, like, you got your thing and I got mine. I just recently met another woman 3 weeks ago who does what I do. She has a program helping authors. And so I sat down and I had a conversation with her because she reached out to me. And she was telling me that, like, she been trying to reach out to other publishers. And they don't want to have she said a woman told her, why would we talk and we do the same thing?
I had a good person to tell me something like that too, who I considered a very close friend, and I had to just say, okay, leave her in that space.
Yeah, and this is really, like, happening. But when me and her, I sat on the phone with her the other day for 3.5 hours, and we talked about, how much do you charge for this? What services do you have for this? How are you helping your authors? What are you doing? How can you do this different? And I told her, this is what I'm doing in my program, and she's using that for her program. And then she told me, this is what I'm doing. Then we both was like, neither one of us is charging enough. So we're going to up our prices and we're going to get this thing together. Like, and we even sat down and said, we're going to start meeting on a monthly basis, because at the end of the day, like, we have different energies. Like, she has a different approach. My approach is like, I work with kids, right? So my approach is like, come on, you can do it. You can be it. Her approach is like, y'all better get this thing done. So, like, we even talked about, like, she coming to speak with my authors, and then I'm coming to speak with her authors, so they can get a different perspective, a different energy. But that's not going to take nothing away from her being a book publisher or me being a book publisher. So it's like, different things like that. I feel like being a part of a compilation book helps you to get out of those limiting beliefs and that mindset, and it's your first step to the next journey. So, like, right here, I got Embracing Imperfections, and these are all the lovely women that were able to tell their
story. And I do have a chapter in volume 2.
Yes, so you are, let me see, this volume 2 right here. So you right over there in the image, right up there.
Yes, y'all got to get that book, book.
So these are Embracing Perfection. And out of these, I have 3 amazing women who went on to do the same thing. It's no such thing as competition. So we got right over here, Repair the Black Family.
Right there.
Same thing. And then right here, we got Miss Ashley, who launched her speaking. So Repair the Black Family, you launched your podcast. Then we got Ashley over here. She launched her speaking career, and now she out doing amazing things. And then we got Miss Gilda right here. And then she got her I think she's doing a podcast and a coaching program. So it's like, it's just a ripple effect of people. I'm using my gifts, other people can use their gifts, and we can all just work together, because at the end of the day, like, yes, there it is. Nobody can do me like me. Nobody can do you like you. So it's just I would just say it's just an introduction to get out of that lack mindset. Come work with some people. Get some feedback. Learn how to take feedback from somebody who already been there, because a lot of people be offended, when you tell them this ain't right or whatever the case is. And even with me being a part of your book, like the story that I put in your book, it was something I couldn't see myself through. Like, we sat in a session and I'm just like, is that ready to tell this story? Am I healed? Tell me if I'm not healed. So we need that. So even like I'm trying to build up leaders who could come back and help me. Like,
That's
I
right.
can't tell
That's
that
right.
story on my own. So that's my
Absolutely.
little spiel. I just think that we need to quit playing ourselves and playing the people around us, get a part of a compilation, and then go use your gifts from there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's why, Jessica, thank you so much. I mean, you've added so much value today, and that's why it's so important to have a mentor, have a coach, to be in a community, because like minds help us to fit in one another's future, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, Jessica, definitely want to get people to look into your program. What is the steps one need to take, and what would they gain? I mean, we already know. Ray Charles can see what you're gonna get out of you, but what are three things that you can truly say, streamline what one would get from being a part of your coaching program?
Yeah, so I would definitely say we're gonna teach you your ABCs. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
get that credibility, the brand awareness. I mean, not no, you're gonna get the authority,
Mm-hmm.
brand awareness, and credibility that you need to launch whatever you're doing. So Short Story Secrets is the website where you can go apply. So we don't accept everybody at this point. So you got to be a upcoming superstar. We don't want somebody to just want to tell your story and that's all you want to do. You want to tell your story. You don't want to help nobody. So we need people who want to make a global impact. So Short Story Secrets is the website where you can go find out more information about embracing imperfections and what we do. And then if you qualify, I will be giving you a call with more information on how to actually get started in the next volume of the book, which is volume 4. Yeah, so that's the main thing I would just say. It just gives you a place to where you can blossom. And it's not like I'm creating something new for them. It's what they already had inside of them. It's just a matter of getting it out of them. So I like to think of myself as a battery. If I could think of myself as an object, I would be
Yes.
a battery, because the battery, it just gives you that energy. So you the remote, think of me as the battery. I'm just giving you energy to be able to do what you was already created to do.
Okay, we all need that energy. Okay. So
Yeah.
listen, Jessica, two things that I took away from your program out of many, many things. One, a book is an expensive business card. Okay. Okay. And the second one, what is this? It's impact and income, right?
Mm-hmm.
So definitely I came in with the mindset of impact over income. You was like, no. So you definitely increase my value in the happiness of making impact. That's my number one mission, and income. And as a result, the incoming people that I have, just being on a podcast, and pushing myself beyond the limits that got in the way of my vision. I always wanted to podcast. So being in your program, not only did I get to meet, and I have amazing friends, sister friends now. That's one thing I walked away. Lifelong relationships. Okay. I gave birth to a book, Repair of the Black Family, that had been in me for over 10 years. Okay. In addition to that, now I have a podcast and much, much more coming. So I can truly say from my own personal experience, Jessica T. Moore adds value to your process. And the investment is not about cost, it's investing in you. The investment is lifelong. So I would highly encourage, if you are ready to own your story, to definitely get a part of Jessica's program. What you say, collaborative, it's something that you
But
always say.
collaborative, achievement driven relationships.
There you go. And that's what you're going to get from Jessica T. Moore. Hey, you have blessed me, Jessica. Thank you so very much. I know I'm going to talk to you in the back office. Family, I definitely want to make a few announcements. And you can reach Jessica. How can they reach you? We do have the website, but is there any other social media, any other ways that they can reach you as well?
Yeah, so you could Google me at this point. Hey, Jessica T. Moore. And
Yeah,
it'll come up with, I'm on Instagram at the Jessica Moore Show, Facebook.com/ the Jessica Moore Show, YouTube, the Jessica Moore Show. So any platform, either search for Jessica T. Moore or the Jessica Moore Show.
absolutely. Don't sleep on the opportunity, family. Take advantage of this. All right. So you have been tuned in, tapped into another great production, Heal on Purpose. We definitely want to remind you all to support the foundation. We have our t-shirts, Jessica, Heal on Purpose t-shirts, unapologetically healing. Anytime you invest in yourself to wear your healing on your chest, you are supporting the foundation. We are a nonprofit organization, and every contribution towards these shirts goes to help to further our service to you in humanity. So we have the beautiful t-shirts. They are $24.99. You can get them off our website at www.repairoftheblackfamily.com or in Shopify. If you're on my social media, you can definitely find those links in my bio. In addition to that, we want you to know that not only am I a transformational life coach, I am a retreat leader. In less than 30 days, y'all, we going back to Egypt, the return, ignition. And we have 6 more spots left. It is not too late for you to tap in and activate your next level of greatness. Going back to the motherland. 6 spots. You are going to experience 7 days and 6 nights of up close and personal training and coaching with Sister Nayyirah and Brother David, Healing on Purpose. So for more information, definitely text 727-623-5555, the word Egypt. And last but not least, as you can see, I am here as a podcast leader. I have now a book. I am an international best-selling author because of Miss Jessica T. Moore and Own Your Story Publishing Company. Repair of the Black Family Anthology is a book that has 33 powerful authors along with 99 suggested solutions. It is the healing bomb to the family. You can get this book on Amazon right now. You can go to Amazon and get the book, or go to www.repairoftheblackfamily.com and get the book. Waste no time. This book belongs on every coffee table around the world. So I thank you all so much for listening. And I'll say this, I'll leave you with this. I would rather be loved for who I am than liked from who I'm not. All right. So thank you so much. I love you and peace. Heal on Purpose. This is Sister Nayyirah, your transformational life coach and speaker, podcast number 11. Peace.